Dave and Tim were like Jimmy Eat World tonight. It just took some time, but once they got to the middle, this show took off. The D&B post show stream starts now.
Our friend Trey on the stage is here.
Is It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998, and if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, you know, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed.
But Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. Mexico night 2. Buddy Strong was in the building. Jake Rennick Simpson has been spotted in Mexico. We'll talk about that soon. Tour dates come next week. Shout out Terry Pagula. What not to do in PR 101. Shout out to the transfer portal. Hopefully D&B can pick up a violin in the portal, right? Syracuse basketball stinks. Go Huskies. What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Thank you for joining the DMB post show stream. Appreciate your patience. Took a little bit more time to get things set up, but it is worth the wait. So I am not in Mexico. I am in cold Connecticut. This weekend is the weekend to get away to Mexico. If you live anywhere from Maine all the way down to Georgia, the only part of the country that is warm in the eastern seaboard is Florida. They won the coin toss and they've elected not to receive the snowstorm. So we're going to talk to Sherry in just a second, but we're going to talk to her. We're going to get a video review from Kumi and Alex, aka Brant's Marching. And we're going to try to get Zach in a little bit later. He got the tape up in less than 24 hours from the show. The tape from night 1 is already up. He is down there to record for the fan base and enjoy these shows. So shout out to him. And if we have time, we'll get into just a little bit of non-Mexico talk, as we will do tomorrow as well. A lot of things on the horizon as we await the tour date announcement next week. But let's go ahead and bring on someone who was there. That's the point of this show. It's not about me just running my mouth. So without further ado, we're going to bring on Sherry, who is live from Mexico. Sherry, how you doing?
Great. It's been a great 2 nights so far. The weather is part of the buzz here. People are sort of chatting about what they're gonna do, and I think for the most part, people are not too disappointed to have to be stuck here till Monday or Tuesday. That's kind of the buzz. But we've had a pretty awesome couple of nights here. Dave came on early tonight and said he's sick. You would not have known it tonight, not by how he performed and not by the song choices. He did not shy away with song choices for somebody who was under the weather. So he and Rob are putting in the work, because someone who's sick, I wouldn't think would pick Big Eyed Fish and When I'm Weary. Those have high notes, and then be belting out Bartender. So he's showing up.
Yeah, that is something that he was plagued with last year as far as being sick. This is the time of year where germs tend to spread. He's been traveling to various things. He's been in New York. He's been in Virginia. He's been back in Seattle metro area, and now in Mexico. So it's bound to happen. What was the crowd like tonight where you were compared to how it was night one?
So this is my 4th year, and actually every time I usually am in the same spot. And tonight was different than every other time. I stayed back more than ever and picked a quieter spot. But I couldn't believe how energized everybody was. Everybody's really having a great time. I think the song choices tonight had a lot of energy. It was very Crash album heavy tonight. Lot of energy there. 2 great covers. Ohio and then Changes kept the crowd pretty energized. Lots and lots of energy, I think. We've had great weather here too, which has been just really adding to the whole scene. So big energy all around. And then when Tim did In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel, the crowd was singing and everyone was really, really into it.
And that's become a tradition for Tim in Mexico. I know you've been, you're a veteran at this point, and so it's great to see that come back. What was the song that was like the loudest moment of the crowd that really got everyone going at the peak of the show?
I think just when Buddy came out, people had seen him. He was spotted at soundcheck. And so I think when Buddy came out, and then when he started doing "Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself Again," and just that Buddy smile and the energy on the piano, that's when I felt the most energy. That Buddy falsetto voice came out, and that's when I think, at least I felt it the most. But that's when the crowd seemed to be really going for it. That was a big moment for sure.
I will say, from the couch tour, right? Well, I'm not physically there, but when he came on, the chat was going crazy. Oh, buddy. And I think what I noticed is that Grace is gone. Typically, Tim will have a slide, and he'll kind of get that slide going. And in my opinion, I liked tonight from the couch tour better, because Buddy played his piano soft and gentle, and sometimes that twangy slide just pierces a little too much.
Yeah.
You know, from the years of Stefan doing it and now Tim does it. I liked how Tim just kind of played his guitar without the slide, and Buddy led kind of the main part of those themes in the song. I don't know if you picked, like, if you heard it felt like differently with it just being three people in it versus the full band.
Yeah, completely agreed. I thought right when he came out and that's what they started with, I did not see that coming whatsoever. And then as the rendition came out, I was like, oh, this is just so much better. I really liked it. Yeah.
And
I
what
didn't pick up on all the nuance that you did, but I liked it a lot better.
and that's great to hear. And what was your personal favorite song of the night?
Oh. Um, Pay for what you get. I think that was another good moment of just yeah, I've tonight was my 125th show. And I haven't heard that very much. So that was a good one for me. That was a big one. And then Changes. I was there. I was in Guilford the night Ozzy passed away, and Dave sang Changes that night. He's clearly worked on it since then, and he did a great job of it tonight. So those were two big ones for me that made my heart happy.
And we will close the show. What I was doing after they finished playing Changes, I was listening to Dodo on Couch Tour, and I put together a little multicam to close out this show of just Changes with tape or audio from the Guilford show. So that's another thing you guys can look forward to in the show. But it's great to see that back. Dave clearly
Yeah.
thinking about not just Bob Weir, but also
Mhm.
Ozzy Osbourne. And I know he
Mhm.
mentioned being a fan of Black Sabbath, you know, there during the show. And as we wrap up our discussion on night 2, what are you looking forward to for night 3?
Well, I saw Jake Simpson walk through the crowd myself. I said, well, I elbowed my friend and I said, I'm not crazy, right? That's him. That's him. And she said, no, that's him. And I was at the Gorge this year and heard him perform. And then I just sort of double checked the sets from tonight and last night, and they haven't played Ants and they haven't played Pig. And looking forward to hearing those with Jake would be just an awesome way to wrap up this adventure here in Mexico.
Well, you guys heard it directly from Sherry. She saw Jake
I
Rennick
did. I saw him
Simpson.
in the crowd.
There's a lot of buzz on
Mhm.
Facebook. There has been people a couple of days ago on the Dave and Tim uh, Facebook group. Shout out to the mods of that group. Oh, I know Meg and a
Yeah.
couple other people. There's so much post of I saw this or I saw that, and
Mhm.
it's hard to confirm. But Buddy has taken the stage. You have seen Jake. Other people were texting
Mhm.
me. They saw Jake. So that is going to be something that everyone is looking forward to. Sherry, thank you so much for giving your perspective from Mexico. And I'm glad you were able to find a different spot that had energy and didn't have people talking, because that is
Yes.
one
Yeah.
thing from Mexico even to SPAC this year. I put a video out
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago. Since the pandemic, people just want to talk, and
They
not
do.
just talk. They want to talk through some of the rare songs like Pay for What You Get at SPAC
Mhm.
this year. Last year I was disappointed because when I've heard that SPAC before, everyone hears the 3 notes in and they like, oh, let me stop talking. But it's
Mhm.
one of those things.
Mhm.
So I'm always rooting for every fan to be able to hear the band and not hear other people talking in this post pandemic world where I don't know what happened, but people just came out of the pandemic talking, and it still hasn't stopped 5 years later in some spots
Yeah.
of shows. So
Yeah. Yeah. We need a talking section. We can stick them in.
yeah, like the old smoking rooms, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Here's the talking section at the door.
Yeah.
Walk out the door,
Yeah.
and there you go. All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank
There
you,
you
Sherry.
go.
I will let you go, and you have a good night.
Okay.
Take care.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Bye bye.
All right. So that is Sherry. We're gonna get We have Zach on standby, but I want to get some of these videos played here. And so again, you heard it here first. Or not here first. It's been everywhere. Now there's, people are all the eyes that have seen tonight. But Jake Rennick Simpson is in Mexico. And also, Tedeschi Trucks Band did release some shows where Lucas Nelson will be opening in his band. Jake Rennick Simpson reposted that. And so there will be a period that, and I'm going to pull it up here for you guys to see. There is a period, and actually it's interesting. I want to also circle in the lovely ladies. No, we're not going to talk about them coming back. We have Buddy Strong. We don't need lovely ladies, respectfully. But here I did make this post because on X earlier today, let me just zoom this in. Lucas Nelson is supporting some shows where they'll be opening for Tedeschi Trucks Band. And so the first show is April 17th. That's kind of a one-off. They're playing that show and then they're not coming back to any shows until Red Rocks July 31st. So from July 31st to September 6th, Lucas Nelson, along with Jake Rennick Simpson and Lucas's new kind of backing band, will be opening Tedeschi Trucks Band shows. And so with that said, what that means is, okay, July 31st is the first show at Red Rocks. Based on once we get the tour dates here, we can kind of say, hey, well, most of July, there's openings for Jake to possibly guest. June and May as well, if the stars align, there's an opening. But then once we get to July 31st, the West Coast swing is not going to get him. But last year, the West Coast got him at the Gorge. And so the lovely ladies, I was at the show 6/7/2014 in Mansfield where they made a return. There was one of the original lovely ladies did not return. They brought in another lady to fill in, but the lovely ladies came back and they did select shows in 2014. What they did the next year is Dave brought them back, but he brought them to shows that they had not had the lovely ladies at in 2014. So they didn't come back to Mansfield again in 2015, which had a show. But they did come to Hartford. I mean, they did come to other locations. They didn't come to Hartford. Let me scratch that. They came to Hartford in 14 in July. That was a July Hartford, a June Mansfield. But they came to certain shows that they did not touch down in the previous year. So my hope is that there's a possibility that Jake Rennick Simpson does at least explore a possibility of coming into the venues in June and early to mid-July, as well as April, May, depending on whenever this DMB summer tour is going to start. We'll get those dates next week again with everything as the sources that are coming out. I truly believe that it is going to be next week here. And the people that are saying this, they have good track records. If you check their Ants Rumors resume. So we'll find out when this tour starts, what breaks there are. But I do hope Jake pulls up to some shows, even if it's literally 3 or 4 shows. I still think that's just a huge win for this band. That before last year, I would have told you guys we're not going to have a frequent collaborator on the violin. We may have like Trampled with Turtles and Mexico, or we may have in the Gorge, if there's an opener at the Gorge that has a fiddle player, which we've seen a couple of times. We'll get that, but we're not going to get Jake on, we're not going to get someone like Jake playing multiple shows. Now we know it's possible. And here we are yet again, from Gorge to Farm Aid to Mexico, Jake is in the building. And so this is a change of heart from Dave, who really was like, yo, we know Boy's not with us. We wish him well, but we're not getting a violin player. And it's very, from what I sense, it's kind of like someone that goes through a bad breakup or divorce and they slowly get back into the dating pool. And that slow may be 5 years. They may just focus on raising their kids to their 18. And then they start trying to date when the kids are, get old enough to learn to fly. All right. And so I truly believe that Dave, something changed at Wildlands. Even though Jason Crosby played in Jersey at Homedale, something changed in Wildlands where Dave said, that's my guy. Buddy Strong was on tonight. That's another person that Dave just said, that's my guy. They weren't looking for a specific instrument per se when they were auditioning people. They were looking for somebody that fit the mold well. And that's who Buddy Strong was to that band. They needed him at that time. We questioned it because obviously the logical choice is to get another violin player. But the point is, we're at a point where Dave is open to having Jake guest. We have Lucas Nelson given the cosign as well to say, hey, his management's cool with him, with Lucas pulling up to Mexico, pulling up to shows where they don't have shows. And there's some other Lucas Nelson shows throughout the year before that July 31st date. So that will also, as we see more of what unfolds, there are some other shows that, obviously he can't play the same date with Lucas and fly somewhere for Dave. All right, let's get to Kumi. We'll take a look at Kumi DMB. And we got a couple of videos here with him and Alex Brantz. That's Brantz Marching on Instagram. Follow him. He has a lot of great content of his travels with DMB, with his thoughts on set list as well, where you won't have to sit around for 45 minutes to watch my stream. If you want a quick Reader's Digest review of the show, he's in Mexico and he's doing his set list reviews there from Instagram, Brantz Marching. Let's go ahead and take a listen to Alex and Kumi.
Kind of seemed more of like the fan friendly.
All right, I'm going to play that again. It looks like the audio shut off, but let's play this here again.
What's up? It's Kumi, also known as DMB Fan JTR, here with my friend Alex.
You've got Brantz Marching on the Concert Vids 34 stream.
And we just got out of the night 2 show here in Cancun for Dave and Tim. Alex, what was your favorite part of the night?
My favorite part of the night was definitely the When I'm Weary, not Mexico debut. They played it in 2022, but it was the first time I had ever heard the song. So I completed Come Tomorrow, and I truly never thought I was going to get a chance to hear that song live.
Likewise, it was the best part of the night for me as well, dude. It was awesome to hear that. That's the kind of reason you go to Mexico, like songs like that you don't hear anywhere else. Like getting that was really special. What other highs do you have in the set for you?
Obviously Buddy was rumored as an option, and here he was coming out truly on vacation. And then Dave asked him to come out of his vacation to play for us. They did a few songs during the segment, but that was still a nice surprise and brought the heat.
Yeah, I thought this show was way better than yesterday's show. Just speaking freely, like I think the songs we got tonight, like The Dreaming Tree and Big Eyed Fish and Bartender and Two Step in the second slot, and even Madman's Eyes. I know people, it's divisive, but I like Madman's Eyes, especially acoustic. And Dream Girl also was first time since 2017, I think.
Yeah, just lots of deep cuts getting played this night too. I felt like night one didn't have as many of like those deep cut moments that people are kind of chasing in Mexico. Kind of seemed more of like the fan friendly set, but getting songs like Dreaming Tree, Cry Freedom, Pay for What You Get, Dodo closing out, bringing the encore, hopefully getting some of those rare Some Devil songs tomorrow, and Dodo closing out tonight's going to put Dave in the mood to get those songs played. Overall, the crowd tonight I felt was pretty good. There was one moment where there was kind of a fight that broke out around us. I want to say it was around maybe Big Eyed Fish or Typical Situation. But the nice thing about these GA rooms, the beach, is that you can kind of move around if someone's getting a little too rowdy. But the audience was super polite and quiet during the E1 changes, the Black Sabbath cover.
Yeah. That
was another highlight for me.
Same.
And again, having a cooperative audience for that song honestly made the trip.
Yeah, and I just want to add, obviously Changes was awesome, but also like Typical Situation, Cry Freedom, songs like that made this tonight, made a special night as well. Like we got through some of the other songs I don't usually like You and Me, because of how good the other songs were that were played. So, I mean, the energy was high. I mean, Dave was on another level tonight, so, and Tim, and Buddy. It was awesome to see them play together.
So great night too. Looking forward to tomorrow. Again, I'm chasing those rare Some Devil songs like Up and Away, Trouble, Too High. So if you're setlist watching at home, or if you are watching on Couch Tour, cross your fingers and your toes for those rare Some Devil songs. And maybe we'll finally get to hear Baby. Maybe we'll get Trey out. Kind of excited to see what the special guest situation could be tomorrow. No special guest tonight except for Buddy. That certainly counts. But yeah. Night 2 in the books. Looking forward to night 3, and hopefully we can check off some of those rare Some Devil songs. Once again.
Final note. I mean, I feel like night 2 is way better than night 1 in my opinion. I did want to kind of give some background on where we were. I think I got in line around 4-ish, and got a spot with some of our friends, and I did actually get a chance to get the poster as well. It was weird. They had the merch tent open at 6 today, the same time at doors. So I got our spot real quick, held it, and got that poster. I really liked the Bailey race. It was the one I liked the most of the weekend, so it was nice to be able to get a foil. So
yeah, Bailey race definitely has won the weekend as far as the poster game goes. That's the only print that I picked up.
Yeah. Anything else before we end up, Alex?
No, I'm just looking forward to tomorrow. It's nice to be back in Mexico.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us on, Marcus, and we'll see you at the next one.
And that is the Bailey race poster you're looking at right now. And I think it's the best looking one I've seen from Mexico. They released all these posters on the website for those who have packages for Dave and Tim. Those were shared through poster groups at the beginning of the year. And so I think this one is the best of what's around. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take this poster off. And we are going to bring on Zach. Here, let's just go ahead and transfer over. Zach, how you doing tonight?
Not bad, Marcus. How we doing?
I'm doing well. And I think the biggest thing about tonight was that I was happy to see is the middle of this show built up. It wasn't like the last night where you saw all these bangers to start the first 4 and it felt like, they're slipping away.
I could definitely agree with that. There was, when it came to yesterday, and again, I don't think anyone looks at night 1 set list and thinks by any means it's bad. I think that night 1 was fantastic. It was a strong way to start the weekend, but there were some staggering stops, a lot of a handful of songs that you could kind of look at and say, oh, at least we got this out of the way on night one. But tonight was a slow, steady build throughout the entire night, with, in my opinion, like maybe only like two songs that I think folks would kind of roll their eyes at. I think, honestly, I was, when Crash started for the opener, I was fairly taken aback because now that Crash is a lot more rare. I think that it actually sits really nicely as an opening slot because it brings that energy on early. It gets that casual crowd in, but also now that it's much more rare, it gets those folks being like, "Oh, I haven't heard this in so many years." So I thought that that was pretty cool to have for the opener.
Yeah, five Crash songs. 30th anniversary of Crash is coming later this year. Um, what did you think about the run of songs Buddy did with Dave and Tim?
I think that they were all really solid usages of him for his talents. I mean, I think that he always does a really nice job with that Grace is Gone outro, and they all play very well upon each other. One thing that I was, wanting to make sure of, especially because we knew that Buddy was down here for a couple of days. Um, Whenever guests come on with Dave and Tim, I always feel like they're they kind of come into two camps. They can either really augment the arrangement quite well and know how to blend in with that arrangement, or sometimes they can try to kind of steal that spotlight away and not really know where they're supposed to be. And Buddy did a great job tonight of playing to his strengths, playing to the moment, and was able to elevate the experience of all of these songs, like adding those outros in for Grace is Gone and Sweet, um, giving more room to breathe for When I'm Weary, and giving those really nice piano runs during the middle of So Damn Lucky. I'm personally not a huge fan of the Thank Me outro, but to each their own.
Yeah, and I've always thought the best keys instrument for Butch or Buddy is the piano. It perfectly fits into the sound of the band of any era, um, best. The organ to me isn't as organic with the sound of the band and some of the other like styles of keys and sounds and different things like the Rhodes and other things in the rig of Butch and Buddy don't fit as well. Like just bring out a piano, play that piano, and support a song like Satellite, and it doesn't become a bathroom song as much when you have a nice, beautiful piano filling in. So I'm glad that it was just piano, and I loved just catching the Dave, Tim, and Buddy trio here, like we had seen in 2022, and it just was great. When I'm Weary, 4 plays all time live. The first one, Mark Batson uh, played at the Hollywood Bowl. And then the last three, there was another one same year from with Buddy, and then you have 2022 Mexico, 2026 Mexico. So 4 plays of that song ever. So super rare and a beautiful song. Dave on vocals, Tim on acoustic, and Buddy on the keys is a special thing. Also, the version of Ohio that they played tonight, you had that interpolation of Killing in the Name by Rage Against the Machine. What did the crowd think of that?
That was one of the bigger crowd pops for the night. I mean, Ohio is one of the most classic, well known protest songs to ever be written in American history. It's a fantastic Neil Young song, and the crowd was really really into it, and it built so well. And I mean, one thing that we've always talked about, both you and I, both on camera and off camera, is the concept of how covers can be added and how covers kind of act as a yearly flavor for different tours. And we've also seen where songs can kind of get play tested down here in Mexico and then see if they're going to be brought on for full band tours. And especially given the heavy political tones of Ohio and the continuing political rhetoric that's going on stateside and that Dave has been so forthright about calling out, it would not surprise me that we see Ohio get turned into the 2026 cover for the tour. It works well to the instrumentation of the band currently. There is a lot of passion and fire within that song that I think Dave feels and resonates with. And I think overall the band could absolutely crush it.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, if they just they'll never do it per se. If they shelved all of the covers that are currently in rotation and took, you only can play the maker if you have a guest. You can play Ohio, Casey Jones, and Friend of the Devil in changes. That would make the tour better, in my opinion, for 2026, right? You get these covers out, and then next year, maybe you decide you're going to add one back or subtract one or what have you. But I think the covers so far, as someone who doesn't like covers, who loves Led Zeppelin, who loves Pink Floyd, who loves all these acts that they interpolate, but I do not want another Watchtower with the Stairway to Heaven Zeppelin interpolation. Please end that. Dave, look at me. Please, if you're watching this, no more Watchtower, no more Stairway to Heaven interpolation. I'm begging you for my mental well-being, my mental health. I do not ever need to hear. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I love you, Dave. But I just would love to see these covers that clearly there's a framework Dave has worked on with all of these covers that sound great in Mexico, and just a matter of, working it in with the rest of the band that is, like you said, capable and has the ability to make it sound great. I want to talk about the tape. First of all, thank you for getting that out so quickly.
Of course.
And so what are you doing differently this year, maybe with your setup for Mexico, for the beach, that may be different than some of the previous years that you had been to Mexico?
So this is my fourth year now down at Mexico, but I've actually I've supplied equipment to record for 5 years. If you remember, back in 2024, I wasn't able to make it.
Yeah.
So we actually had a buddy that was willing to grab some gear from me, learn how to do it. He had never taped before, and he pulled three incredible recordings out from that 2024 season, and we were able to have those archived. But 2025 was the year where I was kind of put to my test and put to my limits. If you recall, 2025, there was a pretty it was the first time in a couple of years that we had transitioned away from the February shows to the January shows. And we ended up kind of having a low roll, and we had a ton of really bad weather. It was pretty cold, but the biggest thing was that there were these monstrous gusts of wind that were frankly like beating up everybody. There was tons of sand getting kicked up. People were getting sand in their eyes underneath their contacts. But that really was pushing the limits of the wind protection that I use for standard issue concerts and even for the beach concerts. In the past, I had issues with wind rumble and with phasing problems with the audio, but overall, I hadn't found solutions that really had been conducive to the setup that I used. So after the 2025 shows that saw me having to scrap 2 nights of audio because the wind was that bad, I spent the better part of a year or so doing some research into what I could do to provide better recordings for situations like this, where you're having winds that are gusting up to 30 miles an hour in some instances. And I actually was able to talk with some engineers from a company out in France called Sinella, and we were able to work out what's known as a Zeppelin or a windjammer that essentially acts as a suspension rig for one of my microphones, but it also is fully isolated, fully suspending in the air. And in addition to that, it has its own what's called a fur that goes on top of it. That is, it's the same style of fur that they use for the Zeppelin when they have filmmakers go down into the Arctic and they'll go and record down there. I mean, this is something that is made for the harshest of harshest conditions. And I was lucky enough that after all of that collaboration, we were able to get it over here from France in time for the shows. And I simplified the rig down a little bit, it trimmed some fat, and it was actually for night one, it was the maiden voyage of getting everything done. And just with a couple of modifications that I made, I was able to have a recording where if I mean, I auditioned that tape about 2 times before I sent it out to the public this morning, and I had not a singular instance of wind rumble or really bad phasing that was occurring, and I attribute a lot of that to the manufacture and design of that windjammer that Sinella worked with me on. And I'm actually in the process of doing some post work now on night 2, so that way I can hopefully get that out tomorrow morning. But it's definitely paid off in more ways than I can even imagine, and it's probably going to be my go-to going forward for these more challenging shows to record.
Well, we appreciate that level of research and work to get something across the pond to give us a great quality tape. And even for future events, I'm sure Jones Beach, if that does pop up and you do tape that, like that's another one that's by the water that has weather every other year. Every other show they have there has some sort of weather. So thank you again
I
for
can
what
only
you do.
I can only avoid the wind at Jones Beach. I can't avoid the pit flooding.
That is true. There is not a device that can pump
Got to
water
put the
out.
mic stand on water wingies.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you for just breaking that down. Thank you for giving us additional perspective on Mexico, and try to enjoy some time there in between you getting these tapes out and then setting up your stand and everything each night, and especially for this final night.
Absolutely. I am going to be trying to spend as much time as I can tomorrow with my friends down here, and very much enjoying the fact that I will not be shoveling nearly 2 feet of snow.
Yeah, because that's what I'll be doing here in Connecticut. Thank you again. Get some rest. Please get some rest too. Please get some rest somewhere in between getting this tape done. But take care. Have a good one.
Take care. Good night, boss.
All right. So that was Zach S. again, getting that tape out very quickly while playing in the sand there in Mexico. So we appreciate that. That level again of just detail that he has. All right, so let's take a look at some stuff here, and we'll look at this as well tomorrow, because the next big thing is the tour dates, which again we expect to happen this upcoming Tuesday, based on what I'm going to show you from Ants Marching. Let's go ahead. I'm just trying to get this over. And we'll zoom in here. And get everything set up. Thank you guys again for your patience as I try to get things going. Also having some issues with the audio, like some of this stuff is freezing up here on OBS, if you're familiar with that platform. It's been happening for the last like 2 months here. All right, so let's get this. Boom, here we go. All right, so today I just want to focus on what dates we have, and tomorrow we'll look at some general rumors. Maybe we'll talk about Alpine and Chicago that both may be skipped there. And something that also just got added that is a general rumor, MSG in the fall, someone says there's a hold for shows there. Anytime a hold is put in, a venue is saying, hey, we don't, like when the Rangers and the Knicks start looking at the next season, 26-27 season, they're not going to book a show in November on this date and that date for Friday, Saturday in November, because they're planning to hold that for Dave Matthews Band or another band. But here's what we have for dates here as of January 24th, the last update here. So we have Houston and Dallas on the 8th and 9th. We have conflicting reports of when Rogers, Arkansas is going to happen, and Austin, it will happen on the 12th if Arkansas does get their show on the 13th. We now have a venue for Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama. Their venue, the Orion Amphitheater, is rumored to get that. Atlanta is going to get a show, and now it's more likely than not going to be Lakewood Amphitheater, which is in Atlanta proper, the larger venue out there. West Palm Beach, the 29th and the 30th. And you see a lot of Won't Burn the Pig. Won't Burn the Pig is one of the sources that gives the most information, but also is pretty darn good with what he gets out as far as his predictions. And let me just see if I can find, because this is not just someone making up stuff. If we go to last year's, let's see if I can find that. Well, maybe I'll pull it up for tomorrow, but I have a thing of last year's predictions, which ones were right and wrong. But Won't Burn the Pig, every single venue that he said was going to be on the tour, even some that, hey, it may have been in question, he nailed all of them. Some of the dates were off, and sometimes sources, again, will give a fake date or a date. They'll put it a day off on purpose to not give away the house. In June, we have Raleigh and Virginia Beach rumored to be there. Won't Burn the Pig and Anonymous. Star Lake from Won't Burn the Pig. There were some conflicting reports from Matt's S, I believe, with Star Lake possibly not being there. And then Grand Rapids, a new venue, Won't Burn the Pig. And then Shakopee, that is a new venue in Minnesota, I believe. And so that's what he's saying. Is they're gonna Minnesota, their new venue that's opening this year is gonna get DMB there. Kansas City is there. We have Won't Burn the Pig co-signed that after Jay Dunn DMB had there, and then Deer Creek the 26th and 27th. We still have a lot of gaps here, but it is what it is. Jones Beach is rumored to be July 8th, and then Camden the 10th and 11th. Guilford the 14th and the 15th, SPAC the 17th, 18th, Darien Lake. Out in Syracuse won't be in the mix. Those things were given some months ago. Hartford, again, months ago, the promoter even confirmed. I know some people, and again, this just happens because not everyone's checking ants marching for rumors or checking the forums. Some people come in this time of year just to, hey, anyone know what's going on? I don't check DMB 24/7, but some people are like, are we even going to have a summer tour? We're having a summer tour. The promoter from the Hartford in New York City areas, in upstate New Yorkish areas, Jimmy Koplick, now a lot of his shows are promoted in in Connecticut. He's a legend in the game. He's going to be retiring at some point in the very near future. He's having the next generation of his business of promotion in his concert promoters in his family take over some of the business. But he's a vet, and he gave said Hartford has a hold for July. So we're having a tour, like we are. It's not a question of if we're having. There's a summer tour. It's just a matter of which of these dates is right, which of these venues are right, but the date is off, and which venues are missing. I just want to, for my West Coast friends, for even people that don't see dates, And good Lord, with the dude in Ants Marching who keeps saying, when's Charleston, Charleston? This is why Charleston's not going to get picked this year, because you keep asking. Like, Charleston, Charleston, Charleston. Shut up. Anyway, but some of these dates may be missing because there's just not a source tied to it, or someone can't speak on it. Otherwise, they're going to lose their job, right? There may be somebody who's a DMB fan who works at a venue that's not here. Maybe they work in a West Coast venue like the Hollywood Bowl, and they've known for a while DMB's coming to play there. They can't actually give that information out if they're telling them not to. Right? And someone says Raleigh, Virginia Beach, and then Seeking on the Ridge. We said that last year. That's what we called it, Seekers on the Ridge. That outside area, outside of the physical venue, where people who don't have tickets were watching shows, trying to hope for Allianz for this year. But we'll see what happens. But these are the dates we have so far. It's just a matter of what is missing. And sometimes the band switches it up. They may have been playing a venue for the last 5 or 6 or 10 tours. They play this venue, and this year they take it off. Or every year Alpine's been this on odd, since the pandemic. It's been on odd years, and maybe they skip 2026. We'll see. But we'll talk more tomorrow about this. I want to close out this show. Thank you guys for watching. YouTube ConcertViz34. You're watching it on there. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that. Follow me here. And if you have videos from Mexico, please message me. If you're watching this video a week later, a month later, and you have videos, message me on Twitter /X, Facebook, or Instagram. Those are the best ways to communicate with me. Send me a message at me, and we'll try to get your video here so I can get some multi-cams together. Speaking of videos, I put this video together as Dave was playing it to about 15, 20 minutes after that while listening to the end of the show. So this is a little mashup of video clips that were sent in to me and my original video clip that's already on YouTube, but I wanted to add a little pizzazz into here. And I just want to also shout out the taper, give credit where credit is due here for this Guilford Night 1 tape. We have that this tape was, let me just pull up the source. Oh, that's not it. Oh yeah, it's always John. So John Gordakowski, thank you. He does Guilford. Without him, a lot of these shows would not have tapes, or someone would have to drive up the coast like a madman or madwoman to tape this. And so thank you to John. This is tape or audio from John and some various sources here for this video. They will all be credited on the multicam. But shout out to people who sent in videos. I think we have Dylan Colburn. And we have a couple other people, a couple of my other friends sent in videos as well. Katie Brower and a couple other people. But anyway, let's play this, close out the show with Changes from Guilford, New Hampshire. There's been 2 famous notable deaths at Guilford. The first one was Charlie Watts from Rolling Stones. He passed away in 2021, the day of a show for D&B at Guilford. And then last year, Ozzy Osbourne passed away. In that day, D&B was playing at Guilford. And so there were tributes to the Rolling Stones in 21. And then there was also a tribute to Ozzy with Changes, as you'll hear right now. Finally, I'll shut my mouth. And you guys can listen to Changes from Guilford, Night 1, 2025. I should say 2025. Rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne.
Feel very lucky. Thank you very much. Thank you to Mike Marr for coming and playing with us. And it's always so fun to come here. Everyone treats us so well here. we get to relax, and I hope that you had a good evening. When I was a kid, I used to, all I wanted to do was listen to records. That's all I did. You know, I'd just draw pictures and listen to records. And then they say, you gotta do your homework. I say, okay. And I just listen to records and draw pictures. And then exam time would come, and then you gotta study for your exams. I said, okay. And I was going to, but then all I did was listen to records and draw pictures. So then, as you probably know, you can fall in love with music, and this is anyway. I guess just because time passes, we always end up losing some of our heroes. Anyway, I'm gonna do my best on this tune. I feel so sad, 'cause I lost the best friend that I ever had. She was my woman, and I loved her so. But it's too late now, I let her go. I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes. We shared the years, we shared each day. In love together, we found a way. But soon the world had its evil way, and my heart was blinded, love went astray. I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes. It took so long to realize, and I can still hear her last goodbye. Now all my days are filled with tears. Wish I could go back and change